Good morning, I'm Rodolphe Brun from DOT Realty, and today I'm going to show you how to fill up the contract, the purchase agreement on Form Simplicity, and we're going to fill up the as-is contract. So when you have find a property for your client and they want to make an offer, where do you go? So the first thing you're going to go is find the listings that you're going to sell. And you're gonna click search, and when you click search, that will take you here, and you're gonna scroll down and click Form Simplicity. So Form Simplicity, it's a program where all the documents, all template documents will be there, and all your contracts will be in there. So you're gonna go to library. We will open all the blank form, and what we want to do, we want to find the as-is contract. So start typing the beginning of the word as-is, and then the as-is contract will show up right now. So you click that contract, and the contract will open the separate windows. Okay, once it opens, you have a contract that has, I believe, 30 pages total, and you have to fill up every single blank. So the first thing is make sure you're in contract. So we're in the as-is residential contract, and that's to buy a piece, a house. If you were going to buy a piece of land, that will be a different contract. Now, for everybody, I am not a lawyer. I am not here to advise you or explain the contract. I'm just here to help you fill it out, and if you have any question, I'll try to help. There is a class with the Realtor Association at FCAR, and you have a couple of lawyers that go over the contract, and I think all agents should actually go to that class, so that will explain the contract. Also, I will advise everybody to read the contract really well and understand it, and because your client will always have questions, and that's what I will do. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do is on line 1, you gotta find the seller's name. So the seller's name, when you go into your listings, you can click the tax ID, and the tax ID will take you to Flagler County Property Appraiser, and here on the first line, owner name, you will find his name right here. So what I do is I copy it and then paste it onto the contract like that. There is no typo, or if there is, that won't be my fault. Buyer, here you will type your buyer. So it says this guy is John Doe. That's on line 2. Then the next line you have to fill out is the address, the property, legal description, and parcel number. So the address, same thing. I go back to my MLS sheet, and I will select the address. I will copy that, go back Form Simplicity, and paste it. Properties located in. Here you have to enter the county name. So on this one it will be Flagler, it could be St. John, Volusia, wherever the property is. Then you need to fill out the parcel number. Parcel number, you go back to your tax sheet, and parcel number is located under today's date. So you copy that. Now, legal description. The legal description is same thing. It's in the tax. Flagler County, we have it right there on the right under legal information. You copy this, today the computer is giving me a hard time. Alright, copy it. You go back to legal description and you paste. So here you have the property information. That's really important because everybody's going to read that. The mortgage lender, the title company, all of that. Personal property, that includes all the fixture of the house, like range, refrigerator, all the appliances. That does not include washer and dryer. So if you want to make sure your buyer gets a washer and dryer, you will have to include it in the contract. Okay. Now, if you're gonna have more personal items that you would like to be included in the sale, what I will do is I will have a separate agreement because you don't want to have that into the real estate agreement. A lot of time, mortgage lender won't like that, and they're gonna ask for an appraisal value of that personal item. So if you want to avoid any too much trouble, write a second agreement. Now if it's a cash sale, that's okay, you can just put it in there, but as soon as you have a mortgage, you need to be careful. Now on line 26, that's where you want to enter your purchase price. So the house was listed for $249. Let's say my client wanted to offer $240. So I will offer $240,000. Then we gotta put a deposit in there. The deposit can be anything. You know, it can be $10, it can be $5,000, it can be $240. In this case, we'll say the deposit to $5,000. And a lot of time we used to have the buyer give you a check, or give the check to the escrow name. That you can do that, or you can also deposit it into the escrow account or do a wire transfer once all the contract has been signed. And so usually that's what I do, that avoid troubles. Line 32 through 33, 34, that's where you want to put the title and escrow information. So let's say it's ABC title. That's where you will put the information. Their email address, same thing, their fax. Additional deposits. If you agree, if your buyer agree to put an additional deposit after the inspection period, that's where you will enter it. In this case, let's say we did not agree, so I will put non-applicable, and here I will enter 0. Line 38, financing. If your buyer is getting financed, that's where you put the loan amounts. So let's say we are getting $200,000 loan amounts. Also, I usually enter 0. If he was getting 2 loans, you know, if he was getting maybe a gift from somebody, maybe that's where you'll put it. I rarely use it. I actually don't think I used it, but I'm sure there is a point to it. Then here will show the balance. That will be the balance of the down payment, because he paid $240, get $5,000 deposit, and he gets another loan for $200,000. So he has $35,000. That is balance. That is that the balance on the purchase price, and that's what you will have to bring at close of escrow plus his closing costs. On line 45, that's where you will put a time for acceptance. So today is September 8th, so let's say we'll give them 2 days. So they have 2 days to answer that that offer. Closing date, let's say you want to close in 30 days, so you will pick that day, maybe. Alright, we're closing November 14th, that's what we got. Make sure at the bottom on the left you get buyer initials, and on the right you have seller's initials. So make sure that all of that are initials when the offer is accepted. Okay, in case of force majeure, if you could not close because of like a hurricane or some storm, that you have 14 days after the actual closing date. Well, after the closing date from the contract, you can have an extension of 14 days. Usually I leave it blank and keep the 14 days. If you wanted to put something different, then that's what you will do. If you want to put 3 days, 20 days, 50 days, whatever. Occupancy, possession. If the property is leased and subject to a lease, you will check that box. If it's not, if it's owner occupied or if it's empty, then don't check it. Assignability. Most contract, most of the time are not assignable, but that's where you will assign it. That you will check that box. Or if you want the contract to be assigned, to be able to, the buyer may assign the contract, then you will check that box, etc., etc. That's where you will go. Financing. In this case, okay, if you have a cash buyer, you will check that box. That will void the financing contingency. If you need to have a mortgage, then you will check this contract is contingent on buyer obtaining a written loan commitment. In this case, it will be a conventional loan. You do have conventional, FHA, VA, all type of loan. We'll talk about it in different time. Then here you will enter when the loan commitment date is gonna be. So let's say you will have 30 days to get a loan commitment from a mortgage company, and the loan that they're getting, they want a fixed rate, and I don't know, for example, let's say it's 5%, and for the term, here you want to enter the term of the loan. It can be 5 years, 10 years, 15, 30, 36 days, whatever you decide. Then buyer shall make a mortgage loan application for the financing. I hope that when you take your buyer out and start looking, I hope that they already filled an application and they already pre-approved, because you don't want to waste your time. So usually here I enter done. That means that's already been taken care of, and you don't have to worry about that. But if you don't have someone who already applies, that's where you will put the date. Usually it will be 5 days after this contract is signed. Assumption. If the loan, if the owner had a mortgage and that loan was assumable, then you wanted to use that assumable loan, then that's where you will check those boxes. It's rare to find some, but there is some out there. Your closing fee, those are the seller closing cost and the buyer closing cost. If you want to add something here, like for example, we have a transaction fee at the office, that's where I'll put it. I will enter DOT Realty. title evidence and insurance. If you have a short closing, let's say you have a couple weeks or a week closing, then here you will change that to a shorter time. Otherwise, just leave it at 15 days. But you can put 5. You can put whatever you want there. Don't give them not enough time or too much time to take a look at it. Now, seller shall designate closing agent. Usually we check that box because that gives the buyer, the seller will pay for the lender's, not the lender policy, the seller will pay for title insurance if you check that box, so that saves money for your buyer. But if your buyer doesn't care and wants to have his own closing agent, that's where you will check the box. Miami-Dade Broward regional provision doesn't apply to us because we're in Flagler. But if you want to sell a house in Miami, then you will have to check that box. Alright. Or warranty. If your buyer or seller wants a warranty, or if your buyer wants a warranty, you have to decide who's going to pay. Is that the buyer or the seller? Let's say we ask the seller to pay for it. Here you will type the company name, alright? And that will be almost. And here you will type the estimate cost of that plan. If it's not if the buyer doesn't care and the seller doesn't care or doesn't want to pay, then just put non-applicable in both of those blank. Special assessment. If you check the first box, that means the seller and the buyer, the special assessment will be prorated from closing. So usually I enter that box if you want the seller to pay for the full assessment, then you will check the box below. Like I say, I'm not going over the contract in detail. Just want you to see where you have to fill it out. If you want to learn more about the contract, go to the Realtor Association and they can schedule you with a class, and I think it's a couple of lawyers that explain the contract. In a case that you're in a flood zone and buyer find out that it's in flood zone and now he's going to need flood insurance, if you wanted to cancel the contract, you will have to give you'll have to deliver a written notice to the seller within, in this case, 20 days. So you can change it to a few days, you can change it to whatever you like. Property inspection and right to cancel. This contract is an as-is contract, meaning that the buyer can have an inspection done, and during that inspection period he can either ask the seller to fix it, or he can also decide to cancel because of the condition of the home. So that's where you will put your contingency period. So it's 15 days if you left blank. If you want to do a shorter one, if you want a 7 days, or if you want longer, that's where you will enter. In this case, we'll give them 10 days. I'm sorry, the computer is really slow this morning. Finally gonna get there. Okay, page 11. Add under an additional term. If any of those conditions apply, if it's a condominium, if it has a homeowner association, if it's seller finance, if you have a mortgage assumption, if you're doing an FHA or VA financing, if you have an appraisal contingency, then you will check each box that is applicable, and you will have to go into your library again, get the form and fill it out, and add that with the contract. Additional term. This is where you will ask for anything. Let's say you want to have the seller remove a tree from the yard, or you want to have the seller pay for some closing costs. So that's what we're gonna ask. Seller to contribute $5,000 towards buyer closing costs. So that's where you will ask for anything. And down, so if the seller counters the offer, he will usually sign the offer and check that box. And if he wants to reject it, that's where we'll reject it. So leave those two boxes alone when you write the offer. Make sure that every page of the contract are initials by your buyer, and once you get it back from the seller, make sure it's all initial also from the seller on the seller side. Now that's the last page of the contract. You need to make sure your buyer signs and dates, and the seller do that as well. Buyer address and seller address. Fill out the buyer address. The seller can just fill it out himself. And then here, since if you're the buyer agent, you'll put your name here. I'll put my name here. And you'll put your company name. And then if you're the listing agent, then you will put your name here. So let's say it's we'll call him Julien Paul. And let's say he's at ABC Realty. So that's what you will do. Then next, at the bottom of that page, you do have initial. A lot of time people forget about those two, but you get an initial. Buyer has to initial here, seller has to initial there. And when you're done, you save. Because you don't want to have to fill it out 20 times, so you save. We'll call it test. Save. and so that will save those documents. When you go to active file, that's where you'll find your documents. Okay, I hope that helps. If you want to print, also if you want to print, that's where you'll print. You click print and you'll be able to print the contract. So hopefully, I hope that helps a lot of people, and if you have any question, you know, you can always call me. So have a great day. Bye.